Hello, people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing? Welcome to another episode of This Dev Life, where we talk about developer life challenges they face and how we overcome these challenges every single day. Yeah, I know. Today, we'll not be talking about coding per se. Of course, we'll talk as relates with coding. And with me today, I have Emmanuel. We're talking all about STEM. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I hope my knowledge is still right, Emmanuel. Am I
Yeah,
still up to date about
yeah, doing
that?
fine.
All right. All right. So we're talking about STEM and the role it plays in sustainable development today. And there's no other person that is an expert in that I thought of bringing on the show than Emmanuel Emechete, if I pronounced that right at all. Did I try?
Yeah,
Score
doing
me.
fine. Yeah, doing fine.
Yes. So we have Emmanuel, who is a STEM leader. I'll say STEM leader, yes, because since I've known him, he's been doing lots of fantastic stuff around educating people in coding, engineering, technology, and all those kind of stuff. He's doing amazingly well. And I thought, oh, let's bring him on the show and talk about how STEM helps us achieve sustainable development. So let's have Emmanuel. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, and it's great to be here today. I hope I'll be able to actually do justice to the topic we have.
Right. So, why don't you go ahead and just give us a little bit of background into yourself so our listeners can know exactly who we're speaking with?
Okay, I'm Emmanuel Michael Emechete, and I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria, for now. So basically, what my background I will be focused on, like Dara has already said, is more of STEM, but I've always put it in the idea of trying to use that to solve problems, like especially the SDGs, like the Sustainable Development Goals. So I've done some stuff in coding, robotics, then space tech, a lot of other stuffs. So actually graduated as um, BTech in metrology from the University of Technology Akure. So I had this climate change, environmental mindset, although I wanted to do electrical electronics at first. So that pushed me towards looking at renewable energy, clean energy and stuff like that. So that tech drive, that engineering spirit has still been there. So just focusing on how we can use all of these things I've learned in both personally and both in the school space, trying to see how we can use all these tech tools to actually reduce climate change and some other SDG goals like environmental pollution and all of that. So I've been focusing on teaching people all about this stuff, and for a while, I think that was in 2018, I started using the slogan hashtag STEM for SDGs for a long while. I think some of my friends even like STEM for SDGs. So basically, I think it was not until 2020 that we began to, this 2019 also, began to actually design a logo, trying to, like, it began to build up to just from an hashtag to like an initiative. And now we're actually in the process of registering the company with that. So it was just started like a lifestyle, like what's everything I do was like, okay, STEM for SDG, using STEM for SDG. So that's why we got to doing all of those STEM stuff. And basically that's why I'm probably sitting in this podcast right now.
Okay. Oh, that's quite something interesting you're doing, and you talk something that really sort of strikes a chord in me when you talk about having to build products and services and solutions that help combat climate change. As you know, today there's global warming, the ozone layer is depleting rapidly, all the crazy things happening in the world right now. We need to actively, actually, as techies, look at how we can contribute to that, not just cleaning the ocean, not just picking litters and not dropping litters on the floor, not recycling and not stuff. How we can do these things to actually make the world a better place for us, maybe not even us, maybe the children that come after, because in 40, 50 years we'll probably be gone from here. So make the world a better place for the people coming right after us. And we'll be talking mainly on 2 points today. And since you're the expert here, I'll throw the first one to you. Like, how do we educate career personnel, especially in STEM? The people who do science, who do technology, programmers, and all that. How would they be able to know, or what kind of things would they need to do to be able to build technology products that are friendly to the environment and also sustainable in the long run? How do we even achieve that? All I know is I just think about writing code, I write my code, I deploy it to a server, and it just works. How does environment come to play in me just writing my code?
Okay, basically, I would want to start answering your question from saying that, even I don't know, from basically what you're saying, you already even define sustainable development, because sustainable development has to do with development that will not affect the development of the future generation. Like you said, something about for the future generation and things like that. And I'll go back to where my coding journey started. It started in 2016 fully. Though I had that plan to learn coding before now, well, actually didn't have a laptop, so I was just using this Java phone, then Nokia something. So I could not really do any coding with that. So I had in mind that when I get to school, I go to Cyber Cafe, spend all night coding, but that didn't really work out. So in 2016, when I got like fully had the laptop I could use, I saw this program called Kuprino in Akure. Then I joined them. I asked if I could actually even call to ask if my laptop with 1 gig RAM could be allowed to do coding. So the person was like, no, just come with your laptop. So I went. And so when I went for that coding program, it was towards that program that I now saw the SDGs. They introduced us to the SDG for the first time. I got to know about the SDGs in the coding program. So basically, the
Mm,
SDG started in 2016. So it was the SDG was just started. So they were telling us that, okay, we have to learn to code, but we're learning how to code. Let's look at any of these SDG problems and try and solve them. So I don't know if that's where
mm,
I'm coming to now. So the idea of solving, so a lot of people just learn coding, learn this, but when you're coding, you are doing all of these things. You are trying to actually meet a need, trying to solve a problem. So
mm,
if you have that understanding right from foundation of when you're coding, it will really help you to actually understand. So, for example, now like my first coding class, I was the first coding program I did was taught about the SDGs. So definitely, I already had that foundation that coding is about solving problems. I want to focus on the SDGs, so you can see where that came from.
mm,
So, if people that are going to coding, like for example, somebody like you that into tech space for a number of years, if in all your programs, in all your classes, you always introduce a bit of the SDGs to the people you are teaching, we're already actually achieving our goals, because they are going to be like, oh, yes, I want to create a software, a this, a that. But I have to ask, is it really environmental friendly? Is it
mm.
really
It's
going
solving a
to
problem.
be solving a problem? All of these things will come to questions because they are already told about that from the foundation. So the foundation really matters a lot. If we begin to tell them these things from the beginning of their coding classes, their coding programs, even all the summer camps that we have in Lagos, in Nigeria, and in Benin and other places, in Akure, in online their online programs, we always make sure we introduce students to the SDGs as we teach them coding, robotics, STEM, or anything we are teaching them. So basically, the foundation, if we start that, but probably for those who are already in the field that have not been doing this before, we can still introduce them to it. So just help them to understand that by the time you are creating a solution that is sustainable, it will really last longer and creating something that after a couple of years, oh, this solution, let's stop using it because it's actually affecting A, B, C, Y, Z part of the environment or part of the sustainable development. So if you create a solution that is sustainable, it will last longer. That means your solution will be more relevant in the long years to come.
Mm. So this is really good. Like from the foundation of me teaching someone how to code, I teach them, hey, you have to think about the environment as you're coding. You have to think about this SDG goals, and there are 17 of them. Well, as of right now, if I'm still
Yes,
correct. Yeah,
yes, that's
there's
something.
the goal to not have poverty, no hunger, good health and well-being, reduced inequalities, and all these things that are actually core problems in the world today. Because every man, well, of course, is are born equal. Well, at least that's what we say, and we should be able to provide a level playing ground for everybody. But this now builds another question from my mind. You're talking about these two people who teach coding, people who teach cloud and all this nice techy stuff. Now, as industry professionals, people who don't care about teaching anybody, they just I'm just here to make my money. I learned code because I want to make money. When I learned my coding, there was nothing called SDGs or even whatever DGs might come in the future. How do we get this kind of people involved in the SDG goals and writing their code for sustainable development?
Okay, like I rightly said just before I ended up my first intervention, it was I was saying that basically if you're as a business person or as a freelancer, or somebody that works with a company, you want to create a solution that will last for you for a longer number of years. Just imagine you creating something that you already know the lifespan will probably be like next 5 years or probably next 2 years because it's not sustainable. So you definitely want to be interested in something that will make your codes or your program or your software or solutions be sustainable. For example, like probably I'm deploying a software that would probably um I don't want to let me put it like because I'm not fully into hardware. For example, somebody that's not fully into hardware, you're just doing your codes, and somebody gives you um some project to do to kind of put a codes that will work on the hardware. And this hardware, when you saw the code, you saw all this stuff that this stuff is working with something that is a fossil fuel. For example, I'm putting a code that will work on a drone that we're going to kind of um probably plant seed or something like that, and I discovered that okay, everything is working on fossil fuel. Or I can say no, why not we do it this way that's more efficient and more
Mm,
environmental friendly, because I have that mindset of climate change and environmental stuff. So basically, also there's a lot of opportunities in sustainable development because the UN, the whole world, everybody is looking towards sustainable development. So basically, there are grants. When you attach your project to a sustainable development goals, there are grants that can come from there. It's a profession on its own. There's what they call climate finance. There's what they call green economy. Um, Recently, I'm open to attending an event which is on green economy that is fully sponsored by a company somewhere. So basically, all of these stuff are opportunities that you can dive into. Even Adela did something they called SDG Challenge recently. So there's a lot of the SDG ARC, SDGs. Like people are putting money into solutions that are environmental friendly, that focus on SDG. So if you're a developer, you want to make money, you're into business, looking into the SDG is also something profitable for you because definitely you're going to get good returns for your money because a lot of NGOs, a lot of international organizations want to solve problems, wants to do CSR projects, wants to do things that will touch lives in Africa, local communities, renewable energy projects. People want to mark grid. They want ArcGIS project that will be able to mark the whole stations that have not been mapped before. For example, I want to map
mm,
probably a local area. I could deploy a program that will help me to run some softwares that will map that area and give me the proper number of people in that locality, probably statistics of people who are poor, anything like the position can just keep going wide like and wide because there are a lot of things that you can actually tap into both as a freelancer, as a business person. Although a lot of people, like I said, that who are working for people who are freelance, we only want to do projects that they are asked to do. For example, your boss give you this thing, so you just do it. But like I said before, if your boss is telling you to do something and you see that it's not sustainable or it's not environment friendly, you can actually chip something because you are the techie guy, you are the chief, probably you are the one
mhm.
manning that space. You want to listen to you. If you say, oh, sir, why don't we use this solution, which is actually going to more favorable to us in the long run than using something that is going to be very cheap now and probably going to spoil later or get bad later. So basically, as a tech person in that space, your voice, your advice to intervention really matters a lot. So both for your pocket and both for for your company organization you're working for.
Yeah, thanks very much. And there is it, my very good programming friends who are CIOs and CTOs and C levels, TOs, Ts, and leads. When you want to write your code, when you want to put stuff on those nice, great Raspberry Pis and stuff, ensure they are stuff that can last long. Ensure they are stuff that are easily reusable, and also in you want to use things that don't essentially degrade the environment, and that's pretty much it because you have that ability to make that decision. uh, as a techie, it's our responsibility essentially to ensure that the world is a better place tomorrow just because of the things we do. And that sort of brings us to the next intervention, where now if we decide and say, oh, I've heard what you said, Dara. I said I've heard what you said, Emmanuel. That is just what you think, and they decide not to get involved. What would be the impact in the long run for everybody next 10, 20, 30, 40 years?
Basically, the impact next 20 to 40 years even seems too far away. We are already seeing the impact right now. We are seeing because of my work. basically I don't just do tech stuff like so fully. Like basically, I also do stuff in environmental. So that's why it's like step for SDGs, environmental stuff, climate change, plastic pollution. So basically, I have sometimes where I'm being interviewed by journalists about climate change events, and there are a few of those publications out there. You can just search for my name, and you see a lot of them there. So, for example, there's one we did recently talking about heat wave, and this heat
Mm.
wave comes up more because of global warming. These are not something that we have to
Yeah.
wait for 10, 20, 40 years. This is what is happening right now. This is something that is already going on now. Just imagine, recently in my place, Lagos here, Nigeria, because of the poor power situation sometimes, for me, I feel as a climate change advocate, it's not a good thing for me to always put on forces for a generator all the time. So I have to get like this DC fan because the room is
Mm.
always very hot where there's no power. So all these
Yeah.
things happens and it's kind of stop the flow of work for me. For example, I'm in my room trying to write some code or working on the website, and the whole place is so hot and I'm sweating. That cannot
Mm.
look so comfortable for you to work. Like the heat wave is already here. We're already experiencing it.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you as a tech person, you want a comfortable place where there's AC and you're working and you're coding. No, and come to think about it again is that a lot of us may say, "Oh, I'm just writing codes. I'm not really doing anything that affecting the environment." Like you like how can code cause global warming? You are actually putting on your gen for like 10 hours. You're using fuel and you're coding all night, and you're like you're not causing problems. You're causing problems. You're putting carbon carbon into the
CO2.
atmosphere. Yes. So basically, you are doing this indirectly without even knowing it. You're just like, oh, I'm just a nice guy in my parlor putting on my generator for 10 hours coding because I have a project to do. The more hours you put that generator on, the more you are depleting the ozone layer. Why don't you use something more noise less pollution and things like that. So basically, if you don't have that mindset, if you don't know about all this climate change and environmental stuff, you'll be like, that school is cheaper for. But if you have that thought, you're like, oh, let me reduce my use of this and put solar power, inverters, and stuff like that. So this is something we need to start doing now because the effects are already happening now. We don't need to wait to 10, 20 years. 10, 20 years, probably, maybe we'll not even be able to stay in our rooms again. We'll have to go and code
Mm.
outside in under the trees if we even
Or
have any
maybe
trees.
inside the river.
Yes, or probably cove near the beach, sir, where you just get hot, you quickly dive into the water and come back and keep on writing your codes. So these are things that are already happening right now. It's not to take too much of our time. Recently, like before the coronavirus, I was in this public vehicle called BLT in Lagos. So basically, this lady was in the vehicle and the whole place was flooded, and I was also there. We just started stranded, could not move, and the lady was like, "Oh no, we have committed so much sin. We have sinned against God. Now God has decided to punish us with all this rain. The rain is so much. This is not how we used to be before." This woman was complaining. She was an elderly woman, and definitely she was right. The rains were not like that before. They are so much now. She felt this our sins. Our sins are so much. And this is not about probably I would say maybe it's our sin of depleting the ozone layer with carbon dioxide. So if you can stop
Yeah.
sinning and stop doing that, probably we'll have less of all this climate change disaster happening around us, both in Nigeria and outside, or in diaspora and other parts of the
Mm.
world.
Hmm. Thanks very much. You've actually shared a very bright light on this matter. For mostly when we think about, well, I will give you a personal confession there. Many, many years ago, before I knew about all this SDGs and stuff, I was thinking, this SDGs are just people who knows how to speak good English and write good paper to get grants. But now, speaking with a lot of my friends, and especially knowing you, STEM for SDGs, uh, I've gotten to know that it's our responsibility to ensure that we do things that are eco-friendly. The devices we use from day to day, the kind of infrastructure we use, the kind of deployments we do. Even I'm bringing another guest on the show later on. Is a chief engineer. Is actually in a software company. We're talking all about coding for sustainable development. Actually, how we write our code and how we deploy it to ensure that we write it that is safe for the environment. So how we can really take this code we're writing, all those functions and methods in JavaScript and Python and Ruby or whatever nice programming language you're writing, how you can write this kind of code to ensure that it's friendly on the environment. reducing server compute power, not really compute power, compute time, all those kind of things that come to play that just generates heat, that generates emissions, that deplete the ozone layer. Those are all the things we need to think about as techies. So whenever I want to write a code now, I think, can I reuse stuff instead of creating new ones? So when I reuse, I know I'm reducing. If it's probably 0.00% of something I'm reducing, I'm happy with that. I multiply that by a million developers, multiply that by a million servers running in the world. We are making the world a better place, line by line of code. And that's what I talk to my listeners on this podcast about. Everything we do is about ensuring that the world is a better place, inspiring others to do well, inspiring others to do good. And you, my friend, have done good justice to that on the show today. I want to say thank you very much for coming. I'm not sure, do you have any final words for our listeners on the show and how we can reach you? Most importantly, if we need to learn more about these SDGs.
Okay, well, my final words would be that basically don't just take everything I've said hook, line, and sinker. I want you to also go and make research for yourself. Probably if you have
Mm,
questions in your mind, say, oh, like what Dara has just said, like how your codes, because people will be like, I'm just writing codes. How does that affect the ozone layer? Like you don't know that the power you are consuming, like I said, and even like all these things you are using, like the softwares, the codes. Like for example, even when you look at data mining or mining Bitcoin, all of this thing needs power and needs a lot of all of these energies. So basically, what kind of energy form are you using? So all of these things are things you can do more research on, find out the facts for yourself, and see what you're actually contributing. You can actually calculate your carbon footprint. All of these things you can do. So it's not just like 30 minutes of podcast. Probably if that's not enough to convince you, that should be enough to convince you to go and do research and find out. Ask yourself,
definitely.
what am I really doing? So basically, that's what I would say. And I would say that if you want to reach me out, reach out to me rather, and you can just go to probably LinkedIn, Emmanuel Michael Emechete. Just search for my name. I bet you'll find
Or
me.
Google him on Bing.
Google any of them will definitely find because I try to do Google search and I always see my stuff there. So you see that see my stuff on environment or the other. Or then you can also go to stamp for sdg.org. We just launched the website, although there are still some few works going on it for training, the training part. But you can just go to stamp for sdgs.org. You'll find some other stuffs there that could also be useful to you. So thank you for having me here. I hope I'll be able
Thanks
to
very much for coming on the
do
show.
justice to the topic that we had for today. So I
You
would
did good
step back and hand
justice.
over to Dara.
Yeah, thanks very much. And of course, for our listeners, I'll drop the links you can contact the most important ones, the website, the Twitter handles, the LinkedIn profile, so you can reach out to him to learn more and to ask your questions. Expect more questions, okay, from this little session that we've had. So you can reach out to him and ask any question you might have about SDGs, anything confusing you or any question you might have, or you can send them to me. I'll forward them to him straightforward directly on WhatsApp, so you cannot run away from it. All right, people. Till I come your way again with another guest on the show, you know how I say it. Stay safe and goodbye.